So you want a food plot, but all you've got is woods. That's the situation that I'm in with my property, and this is a video about how I created my 1 acre destination food source. Gotta check out this shirt. Not your average dad. Hello everybody, this is Nathan Nelson with Stillwater Outdoors, and I'm so glad that you have come here to watch this video. In this video we are going to be talking about creating food plots in the middle of the woods. But before we get going, would you please take a moment to subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when more content like this gets posted on my channel. So if you didn't already know, me and my wife, we purchased 18 acres of land that we built our house on. Now this video here is the third installment of my series called the 18 Acre Deer Habitat series. So if you haven't seen the other two videos, it would be important for you to kind of go back and look at those videos. Now the first step in creating this food plot on my property was to sit down and actually design what I wanted my property to look like. Now it's critical that you have some sort of plan set in place because the last thing that you want to be doing is just putting food plots everywhere, no rhyme or reason to it. Okay, you need to have a strategy, you need to have a plan about where you're going to place the food plot. So once I had that plan set in place, then came the time to start clearing out the area for my food plot. And I have this tendency to do things the hard way. The cheap way. So I went out with a chainsaw and I just started cutting down trees. And this is definitely a legitimate way that you can actually open up a food plot, is with a chainsaw. But when I'm dealing with a 1 acre area, the task started to become overwhelming with how much work it was going to be. So I spent a massive amount of time trying to get this area cleared out. That first winter, I maybe got about 1/8 of an acre cleared out. So after many hours of frustrating work, I decided that I was going to get a hold of a guy that had a dozer in my area. And so he came over and he made quick work of it. He got in there, got all those trees down, pushed them off the side, got the stumps out, and voila, I've got a food plot opened up. Initially, this idea of creating a destination food source with a chainsaw sounded pretty good. But I figured by the time I would have actually gotten even close to getting the food plot just cleared out, let alone, really well, nicely manicured, I would have put in at least 100+ hours to get this food plot cleared. And partly it's because my property is so thick. But, for most people, when you're going in, unless you've just got straight hardwoods with no understory, it's going to be a lot of work. And so my suggestion would be in this: if you're going to spend 100+ hours creating a food plot with a chainsaw, you're probably better off trying to find a side job, making some extra cash flow with that extra time that you would have spent creating a food plot. Put that towards getting a person that can come in with a dozer or whatever and get that food plot cleared out. Maybe you can do some sort of labor trade, maybe you can do something, but there's ways that you can work this around to financially make it feasible to create a nice food plot. In the long run, your food plot is going to be much better for it. You won't have to deal with stumps. You won't have to deal with all the headaches of soil that's bumpy and all over the place. You can just have a nice even surface, get everything the way you want it to be. So the next step in this process was that the guy with the dozer came in then on a separate occasion to level off the food plot, because there was all these holes and things that had been created from all the stumps. So he came in, he got it nice and even, nice and leveled out, and that would give me a really nice surface to work with when creating this food plot. Now, even after he had gotten this food plot leveled out, there was still some mounds and bumps from the dirt. So I decided to hook up a harrow drag right behind my ATV, and I just cruised around that food plot. Took an hour or two, maybe 2 hours to just spin all around that place and get it leveled out and all of the clods of dirt busted up. And this is what brought in one of the worst steps of the whole process. Clearing the rocks. My property is loaded with rocks. My neighbor next to me, he had told me that it's like this whole area is like pit run. I mean, there is just rocks all over the place. So when I had gone through and I had harrow dragged this whole entire plot, it basically exposed all these rocks that were right to the surface, and it was absolutely crazy the amount that I had. I spent 22 hours picking rocks. Me and my wife, we went out there and we would just pick them up, load them into the bucket of a bobcat that we had been able to borrow for a little while, and then I took them off and dumped them in a spot that I could use them. So this was not a very fun process, but I figured it would be beneficial to get these rocks out of there right from the start so that I'm not dealing with them later on with the food plot. Just because I got them moved out though from the surface doesn't mean there's more rocks underneath. I just wanted to get those top ones off because that takes away a lot of growing space for these plants. Now, I'm not planning to till at all with my food plot. I'm planning to do pretty much all no-till broadcast type of seedings on this food plot. So I'm not going to be uprooting any of the rocks that are underneath the surface over time. Maybe some frost will push more up over time and I'll have to go out and clean some more later. But I just wanted to have a clean slate to work with, so I thought that the investment of time was worth it to get that opened up completely, get all those rocks off of there so that I have more ground that I can actually grow food on. And so then the final step before I was able to plant my food plot was to go around and to put down some lime. I got bagged lime and in a spreader that worked out just fantastic. In fact, I've actually got a video that I'll put in the link here for you to watch. That video will show you how I was able to actually spread this lime on the food plot. And I put down about 1,100 pounds of lime, and yeah, we got it set up and ready to go. And at this point then, I was able to start planting my food plot. So I spread the seed out, and oh my goodness, we got hit with like a month or month and a half long drought right at that time. And so I had a lot of seed that did not germinate because of that. And one of the other problems that I ran into is that I have exposed soil and I got sun baking down on it, nothing covering over it. And it literally, the soil got so hot that it turned into this hard caked surface. And all of my seed that did germinate struggled because it was having to try to break through these hard layers of dirt to get down, to establish a good root system. So it basically kind of killed the biology of my soil, which was really frustrating. But I did have some seed that took the first year. Mostly it was the crimson clover, which is more geared towards the summer heat anyways. I did have some buckwheat that took off, and then I went in the fall and I planted some winter rye, and that did okay. So I did have some stuff that was growing come the fall, and it was nice to finally have a food plot. The deer are just starting to kind of relate to this food source a little bit. They haven't quite gotten used to it yet being there and even knowing that there's good quality food there. So I'm anticipating that this is going to be a process. Like, this isn't just you wake up one day and all of a sudden you got this luscious food plot that's grand and you've got hundreds of deer pouring into this thing. No. This is a process. This is going to take years to really get this thing fine-tuned and refined in the way that I want it to be. So if you're going to create a food plot in the woods, don't expect big results right away. My food plot this first year was pretty spotty, but there was food growing in it. And so into the future, it's going to continually get better. And as I manicure it more and give it more TLC, I mean, it's going to do well. I just have to be patient with it. Now, there is one big step that is yet to come in this food plot. I've started it currently at this point, but it's something that I have a lot of work yet to do. And that step is that I need to get the trees cleared from off of the edges of the food plot. So I'm going to be putting together a video that's going to show you a little bit of that process. It's a lot of work. When you're going to create a food plot in the woods, expect to put in a lot of hours. It is a lot of work. This is not an easy way to do it. It's not like going out on your property and, oh, we got this nice 5-acre open area and just, kill the grass and go in and throw in some seed and this and that. No. This step here, this whole process of creating a food plot in the woods takes a lot of work. So if you're going to do it, you better make sure that you know that you can actually follow through with it. You better make sure that you can actually make that investment of time, effort, finances, whatever. You don't want to get into it and then all of a sudden realize that you're in way over your head. Okay? If you do it though, you could have an absolutely incredible setup on your property. And the beauty of all of this is that you can put the food plot where you want it to be. You can have this incredible design for your property where you can hunt it and relate to it and use your property to its maximum potential. That is one of the biggest advantages about having a wooded property when you create the food plot from the woods. So yeah, it's doable. This is something that you can do. And just make sure you got a plan in place, that you've thought through the process, and enjoy putting in a food plot. It's a lot of work, but boy, is it also rewarding at the same time. I know you'll enjoy it, and I know you'll enjoy hunting over it into the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel.